Hello and happy Thursday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of On the Wrong Lead Live where we're only 9 minutes late. Andrew Champagne, who told me he was going to be late, is actually here on time. Was probably texting me, but I haven't looked at my phone yet.
Josh, I'm going to teach you a very clear premise. Have you ever heard of the line, under promise, over deliver? You did the exact opposite. And that's why we had some post position drag here on the Wrong Lead on this Thursday night.
Yeah, it was not good. So, long story short, my wife had a haircut tonight, and we were gonna grab dinner, and so I was sitting at the bar, and I kept looking at my watch, and I'm like, all right, she's a minute late, 2 minutes late. Probably about 25 minutes ran over what we originally thought. So that was a mistake on my part, as usual. The man who's never late because, look, I mean, he's just look at how smug Mark looks right now. I hate how smug Mark looks right now because last night I texted Mark and I'm like, hey, let's do 7:15, 8:15 Eastern. And then for some reason, I decided to set myself up for failure and be like, you know what? Instead, let's do 8. And if I would have just stuck with the 8:15, 7:15 Central, we would have been fine. But instead, now I got smug Mark looking at me, and he's just, I just hate it. I hate it so much right now. He hasn't even said a word yet, and I'm just like, and he's muted.
He's muted.
He's muted too. You're messing something up. Russ asking if it's volleyball or board game night. Neither. It's date night. The place we went to, and Mark is still muted.
Now, Josh, what you needed to do is what I did. My date night is after this stream, not before. Learn.
Penn State Scott saying he hasn't checked in since Breeders' Cup. Too busy searching for a coach.
Good luck with that one, buddy.
Mark is still searching for an audio signal, apparently.
We need to give Mark a whiteboard, and he can just like hold up the sign.
Let's take a look here. I'm gonna pull up. Well, Delt Downs race 6 is off. I know Mark probably fired something there. But we got Turfway Park race 6 coming up. So Andrew, as I pull up the PPs here, I don't know how much time you've been able to spend on this, but did you like anything here at Turfway Park in race 6?
So race 6 coming up. Your two favorites right now are both 9-5. The 1 Ripacer and the 5 White Rocks. Those two horses have one thing in common. We haven't seen them run in a very long time. Ripacer hasn't run in nearly a year. White Rocks has been off since the spring, summer months. So the question is, if you like either of those horses, which layoff is a bit more palatable? I went with the 5 White Rocks in here. I see workouts that indicate this horse is ready to go. I also see this horse getting Lasix for just the second time in her career. And look at that one start that she ran on Lasix. You really can't fault that effort. In fact, when the form line says tons best, that's a clue. I think White Rocks is ready to go. It's entirely possible Ripacer is as well, but Ripacer is also a closer on the rail. That gives me some red flags there. I think Ripacer is a hair over bet. White Rocks 2-1 right now with about 12 minutes to post. White Rocks is where I take my stand here. I like White Rocks quite a bit here, actually. I was really hoping we would get that 4-1 morning line price. Still may drift up. I'm thinking we might see 5-2, 3-1, but no, White Rocks is the direction that I went here. Josh, how did you see it?
Yeah, I thought the 5 and the 1, right? Obviously on on time form figs, they both look pretty good. The five's obviously got um, a stakes win here with that 104 time form, and really, two of the three best races I think run with this group, I think are all kind of here with White Rocks here at Turfway Park. Um, the one has got that one run at Turfway Park, but like you said, pretty long layoff. And you kind of, maybe you're a little bit more suspicious of that. I thought the three was a little interesting here, shipping in from Presque Isle Downs. This,
Josh, the
yeah.
three's a scratch.
Oh, well, why are my PPs not showing the three as
I don't know
scratched?
why your threes aren't not showing a scratch. What I am seeing being shown is Mark Capitan still with the smug look on his face. Mark, do you have audio?
Hopefully I have audio.
There we
There it is.
go.
Yeah. Yep, there it goes. That was awesome.
Well, all right. If the three's a scratch, I got no clue. Mark, where did you land here?
Yeah, I think, I hopped in kind of in the middle there, so I heard you talking about the one. I think the long layoff scares me there. I think you have the whole situation of, yes, it's first time Brad Cox, but Machado doesn't have a win on the meet so far. I realize the percentages are all there. It's one of those horses that kind of screams off the paper, but I think it's kind of horse you try to beat in this sort of a spot. I think I'm gonna be playing. I wish this was a little bigger field so I could find some more value in this race. But I thought, horses more along the lines of somebody like Promise to Dance, the four, first off the claim for Mike Maker. Julian already has a win on the day where he wired a field. I would imagine he's going to employ the same tactics here where he's going to be very forwardly placed. It seems like speed's been good on the meet, or at least on the day so far. So I'm going to try to use horses like the 4, the 5, and the 7. I thought those were the 3 interesting players. Probably like box up an exacta and try to get the 1 off the board. Yeah, really. Again, I'll agree with Mr. Sievers. Nick and I once again are agreeing. Julian wired, what was it, 2 races ago? He wired a race at a pretty big price. So seems like speed's been good. So I thought, this horse like Promises to Dance, White Rocks, who had a couple of good efforts, definitely getting some class relief in this spot, and that's the 5. And then this 7, who's first time on Seth, but has a pedigree that says that this one should handle it. I thought those were the most interesting ones for me, at least.
I'm happy that you brought up Promises to Dance because that would be probably my second choice behind White Rocks. So we're sort of in agreement there. Took a short break after the race, 3 back, where tired and ran 4th. Came back to the claiming ranks, has run well twice. Little bit of a jump back up in class to be protected in this spot. But when you look at the favorites in here, I can't fault anybody that's not in love with either of these horses that have been off for many, many months. If you want a horse that seems to be in form, Promises to Dance, you're certainly getting at least a little bit of value on that one. Currently 7-2 right now. White Rocks still 2-1. Ripasser 2-1. I think White Rocks coming back to synthetic, getting Lasix for just the second time with a pretty good work tab. Of the 2 that are coming off of breaks, I think that's the one you want.
Yeah, and I think you get this a lot with Turfway, especially this time of year, where you have these horses that just really love this surface, and they're getting back to it. They're getting back to what they like. So you get a little, I think with White Rocks, you're getting a little bit of that dirtied up form sort of angle. The last 2 starts really kind of don't apply to what this one is doing today. So now there's also the question with White Rocks. The horse has kind of run up the track in the last 2, so you have to sort of be okay dealing with that sort of an angle.
Yeah, but to be fair, those were stakes races. I mean, the race 2 back, the Bourbon at Oaks, Bless the Broken came out of there and wound up hitting the board in the Kentucky Oaks. And then you look at the Hilltop, safe to assume something went wrong. We haven't seen her for 7 months. I can draw a line through the Hilltop, and the Bourbon at Oaks was not bad. Bless the Broken won by 2 3/4 lengths. This one was beaten 2 lengths for second. I don't think that was bad.
No, totally agree with you. Very much agree with you, Andrew.
We're agreeing too much. Josh, make this stop.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought maybe the horse that you guys haven't talked about, maybe the 7 Moon Mystique was one that could be a little interesting here, especially if speed's good. Right, this is a sprinter that's stretching out. Actually, I think Mark, you mentioned this one a little bit. The pedigree looks fine, I think, for synthetic, and this is one that's been working here at Turfway Park and fired a bullet last time out on November 29th. That 36 flat bullet, I think kind of tells you that, hey, this is one that is probably going to show a little bit of speed. So if speed's good, I really like the 7. It's kind of interesting, right? DRF or Timeform, or the 5. I mean, I originally saw the projected odds at 3-1. Now I see it at 5-2. I think that's more than fair on White Rocks, especially like I said, if we're gonna believe Nick Sievers, which do that at your own risk. But if speed's good, White Rocks, granted on pace figures, doesn't look that fast, but is a horse that if you look back through their PPs, I mean, she's been on the lead 3 out of the 5 races that she's run at route distances here at Turfway. So this could be one that maybe has got a little bit of sneaky speed there. So I thought the 5 of the 2 short prices, the 5 is the one I prefer the most. But I might take a shot here with the 7 Moon Mystique. Just seeing, maybe this is a horse that is going to be able to, on the stretch out with these good works, maybe try and take these horses wire to wire.
If you can forgive the last out clunker, there's a lot to like with Moon Mystique. You're getting 4-1 right now. I can't fault anybody taking a mild shot there. My concern is I just don't think she beat a ton, either in her debut or in the race at Ellis. And I'm wondering if the race at Keeneland was not necessarily a clunker, but a case where she wound up running in some pretty deep water. I need to see it with her, because this is not a bad field for the level as the field goes out onto the track. And my goodness, guys, it looks cold there.
Yeah, but I think the thing with Moon Mystique, though, is the pedigree should move this one up. Malibu Moons tend to really like the synth. The synth, the good old synth Tommies, which are a thing that DRF does post, are quite high on this one. So I would imagine the surface change here should be, should be a good move. It should be a move in the right direction. Obviously, you have to understand that anytime you're doing this, there's always a bit of an asterisk. Like, you don't know if the horse is going to handle the surface, and that's always a question mark. But I thought Moon Mystique was, I think I'm against the 1, but beyond that, I had a hard time really nailing down a horse that I really loved.
If the 1 is trained by literally anybody else, there's no way the 1's close to being favored here, right?
No, the 1's probably, Jesus, I have no idea. 10-1 in this right field, right? Like, I mean,
certainly
there's a lot of question marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Sievers saying that 1 is heavy favorite in the pick 3 pool. So,
this one is going to go off at like 2-5. I mean, I will be shocked if the horse does not go off at like 2-5. It's going to take all the late money.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that all 3 of us wind up looking like idiots while a whole bunch of people go to the windows. But this hits me as a favorite that you're supposed to try to beat.
I'm going to Lee Corso you and be like, not so fast, my friend.
So do you have a mascot head? You can't Lee Corso me unless you have a mascot head handy. These are the rules.
Okay, I'm not going to Lee Corso you.
Thank you.
But the 1 in the double is $13, paying $13. All right. Makes sense. The 5 is paying $17, so slightly less. The 7's paying $18. Now, if you look at the pick 3 payouts, much bigger disparity. And me personally, I know Nick is looking at the pick 3 pool. I tend to think the double pool is probably the bigger indicator. And the fact that the 8 or the 7, is as short as she is. I think maybe the win pool is a little, either we're going to get a lot of late money on the win pool, or the win pool is a little bit out of whack here. But Nick saying that the cost play in the pick 3, especially in Kentucky, but I would take 4-1 on the 7. Honestly, that's where my money is right now. I got to win bet on the 7 here.
Yeah, I'm key on the 5 inexactas here. I think of the 2 horses coming in off a break, that's the one you want. We know that she loves Turfway Park. Her 1 race with Lasix, was excellent. And I'm hoping that this isn't a tightener and that she's ready to go. That was my other hesitation with the 1, is the workouts were just okay. And I think there's a chance this may be a tightener for that one. And with the recent odds bump 2 minutes to post, the one is now 9-5. I think we're both anticipating that one coming down. But we got somebody in the comments taking a pretty big stand with the 2 here.
I thought the 2 was interesting because of the big figure from Kentucky Downs, but that does have the T designation, which means that they think that there was a timing. I believe it's a timing issue on that race. So if you kind of look back at the other race, that race is probably about 8 to 10 points too fast compared to the rest of the races. So yeah, I don't know. That number just could be an outlier because of the timing issue, but that figure puts this horse right in the mix with everybody else.
Yeah, I mean the 2's another one of these first-time synth horses. Well, no, there was some back class on or back history on synth, but I had a hard time getting the 2. I mean, if you guys like it, man, fire away. But I think the price is pretty appropriate on the 2.
We've got someone in the comments who says they like the 5, but not worth playing. I've got a question. When did Turfway Park move across the Pacific?
Oh, look at, we talk about Hong Kong on You've Got to Be Shot Tinning Me, but I don't think there's a track that Matt hasn't bet. Much to his chagrin and detriment, probably. So.
Hey, I'm happy I was able to loop him into the bowling conversation that took over horse racing Twitter momentarily today. Today was a good day on horse racing Twitter, by the way. Good day.
So I really want to know, if Matt likes a horse but doesn't bet it, does that mean that the horse immediately out of the gate stumbles and loses the jock, or like runs up the track, or like how does it?
I don't
does he
know.
have to bet the horse for that to happen, or does it only happen when you're just him liking it?
Hey, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, we are going to find out as they're loading into the gate here. Mark, I do have to ask, I originally had wanted to start a little bit earlier because I wanted to get some of your Delta thoughts in. And of course, obviously, by the time I got on, Delta races off. I have to know, are you live in the pick 5 at Delta?
I am not live in the pick 5.
God,
I had the price
damn
in the first.
You have
I
one
love
job.
the price. I love the price in the first leg, and that last race, that 4 boomed me. So I was kind of glad my audio wasn't working because some expletives did come out of my mouth when that horse wired the field.
Then we wouldn't have been able to monetize this video, man. Thank you to Mark's microphone. Mark's microphone, the MVP of the stream so far.
The whole 7 cents will make in monetizing it. Yes.
Yep. Marco likes the 7 and the 5, but the 7 more. I like the price in the 7. As they're loading into the gate here, let's see how they're 7-2. So this is coming down. They had it projected at 4-1, and they're off here. 7.
And as usual, my stream is behind. Okay, this will be fun.
It looks like 4 and 7 are going to duel, and the 4 is going to go ahead and grab the lead here.
It's not really a duel. 7's sort of stalking, sitting on line.
Yeah. Thought the 7 was going to put more of a fight, but
we need our boy Chase for this, where he can call these. He's good at this.
They just broke, and the 5 almost fell on her face. By the way, we need to tell that out there. Yep, Matt saying there's the 5 stumble.
Okay.
Yep.
So just Matt liking a horse does make the horse. Okay, cool. Good to know.
File that one away. 1's got a lot to do from there.
1 does have a lot to do. The 4 looks like he's sitting chilly. They're shaking the 7 up.
Any of us talk about this 6?
No, I don't think we.
No,
did.
I think the 6 was the only one we didn't talk about.
The 7's good enough. He's gone. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think she's good enough. Because here comes the 5.
Bring the 5.
Oh, JK, here comes the 1. LOL.
Wow. Okay, we all look like idiots. Awesome. Well done, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Congrats. Take your 9-5 on that 1. I will I didn't like it.
I mean, I think you can make the right play and be wrong, right? And I think the play is to try to beat a horse like that. I think there were enough question marks you try to beat that one. Sometimes you get those wrong. That just happens. That's horse racing.
And to be fair, White Rocks ran well. I mean, given the stumble at the start, wind up
Ran very
ranging up,
well.
had to
Yep.
pop out a couple wide there. That's a good effort for the first start since May. I liked White Rocks. I don't feel cheated. It's just the one ran really, really well. Sometimes that's going to happen.
And if Matt doesn't like the horse, it probably wins. So that's just how it goes.
That's true. Just carry an extra 180 pounds. I'm gonna
So
guess.
just looking at the will pays here on Twin Spires, and I think this is live. The exacta actually does not pay bad. 1.5, which is chalk over chalk, for $2 pays $22.
Not bad at all.
That's
Not bad at all.
that's pretty good.
The board stayed a lot more flat there than I expected. I expected that one was going to end up at, just given the connections, everything else, 3 to 5 kind of range, 2 to 5. I thought the horse was going to take a lot of money, and I'm surprised the horse, the odds stayed there. So
Yeah, it came down a little. I think was 8 to 5 briefly, but won at 9 to 5. I think it was 9 to 5 over 5 to 2, which in a 6-horse field after scratches, $22 for chalk over chalk on the exacta. That's pretty good.
All right, I have 2 questions. All right, so obviously I got Delta Downs up.
Oh, here we go.
And Mark, one, I want to know how much money you're losing on the 6, because this horse is named Lambo.
I'm going to lose nothing on Lambo.
You're gonna lose nothing on Lambo. Wow. Okay.
Nope.
Secondly, because I saw Lambo, Andrew, we weren't able to do we kind of decided to skip the podcast this week. However, you said you had one story. You had one Vegas story. It wasn't yours, it was your father's. But I figure we got a couple minutes before Delta goes off. Give you your space to tell the story.
All right. So Sunday, as you all know, there was that pick 5 carryover at Del Mar. So my dad and I are at the Luxor Race and Sportsbook. Shout out to them, by the way. Very nice people. They treated us very well for the few days we were there. And we fired on the pick 5. Dad's live through 2 races. He got a favorite beat in the second leg. So we're into the third. He winds up running 2-3 behind the 5-1 shot. And then late in the race, you see the 5-1 shot come out 3 or 4 paths and cost the favorite a placing. The favorite should have run second. I'm just saying, the favorite should have run second.
It also hurt me. So
yeah. If you haven't seen the Cecil DeMille, it looks bad on the pan. It looks worse on the head-on. And the way John White always used to explain it on HRTV is if you have a monitor and the video is an appropriate size, grab a pen or a pencil and take it where a horse is at the top of the stretch. And if the horse weaves considerably off of that, it should probably come down. The 7 was absolutely cost second there. I don't know what we're watching anymore if that's not a disqualification. And it was a majority decision, so only 2 of the 3 Del Mar stewards should lose their jobs. Not all 3. One of them got it right. But the explanation that was given on FanDuel TV was, well, the 7 was lugging in. The 7 maintained course. I don't understand what we're looking at there. And of course, my dad had the last 2 horses in legs 4 and legs 5. Also, I would have had the pick 4 as well for a nice little score. Conservatively, that wound up costing him about $8,000. Conservatively. That was an absolute buzzkill to end the trip, really, because I flew back that night. He flew back the next day. That was it was otherwise a pretty good trip, but that one really sucked. It wasn't quite Lambo money, to segue back to Delta, but it may have been like down payment on a Chevy Camaro money.
Yeah, that one. I did not have the race after that, correct, but that one was a major buzzkill. To me, that looks like, and you always look at these, and I think we always look at stewards' decisions, and as a bettor, you have your biases, and so sometimes I wonder, geez, am I looking at this a little differently because I have a really biased opinion here, which I obviously do. But it's nice to hear a couple of. I mean, obviously you were a bit biased as well, but
yeah,
nice to hear if you looked at horse racing Twitter or some other places, people being like, "How is that not a disqualification given the fact it did affect the placing?" There's just no way to say it any other way. Yeah, that was a rough one, but I had the next race wrong, so that made me sleep a little better at night. But I feel for your dad.
It was rough. That was he mentioned it as one of the worst beats he's ever taken, and I sympathize. But looking at this race at Delta, Lambo is a very heavy favorite. The last race is a lot to swallow. You see a horse that was beaten 10 lengths at Keeneland. You see a voided claim, and you see a horse coming to Delta off of the voided claim. This is a case where it's entirely possible Lambeau wins for fun. If he runs back to the races 2, 3, 4, and 5 back, he probably wins. I kind of like the 5 Big Drinker in here, though, because if you look at Big Drinker, you see a horse that probably needed the race at Louisiana Downs 3 back, then wins 2 back, then comes to Delta and runs off the screen. Now, this is a better field, but it's also entirely possible that he likes the bull ring, like a lot of horses that run at Delta Downs tend to. So with that in mind, that horse is, I believe, 3-1 right now. I think that's a reasonably fair price. And as I say that, of course, it drops from 3-1 to 2-1, right? Lambeau's still 6-5. The rest of the horses are between 6 and 9-1. Hi, Coots, how you doing? Josh, how did you see this?
Well, before we get into that, my favorite pit boss in Vegas, his name is also Lambeau, believe it or not. He's at the Luxor. Which, Andrew, I know you sent me.
I know Lambeau. I remember
you know
him.
Lambeau, yeah.
I
love
remember
Lambeau.
Yeah, okay,
Lambeau's
yeah,
great.
Great.
Lambeau's great. Andrew, you posted very, very interesting picture you sent me. I believe you saw not just $10, but $5 limits.
I did, yes. I saw $5 blackjack at Luxor. Granted, it was out of an auto shuffler with blackjack paying 6 to 5, but that would have been unheard of in March when we were there. Minimums were $15 across the board, even for games that weren't necessarily favorable to the player. And that was not just at Luxor. There were other properties where limits came down considerably. There was one night my dad and I had dinner at Smith & Walensky over at the Venetian, and we're walking through either Venetian or Palazzo. There was a $15 blackjack table there on a Friday night. I was shocked. I would not have expected that at all whatsoever. And I got to tell you, it was very nice seeing the pendulum go back the other way a little bit, because in March and for the previous several Vegas trips, you could see that the bean counters were running the show. It wasn't gamblers. It wasn't people that had experience actually getting their hands dirty. It was people with MBAs. And you could tell they were trying to extract every single dime they could, and the Vegas experience suffered for it. This year, though, it was nice to at least see mid-level bettors thrown a bone. And that's all we really want, is just the ability to have fun while losing. And another shout out to the Luxor Race and Sportsbook. The drink minimums for sports are still on the higher side, but they wound up returning to a $20 threshold for race bets, as opposed to holding race bettors to the same $200 standard as sports bettors, which back in March was absolutely ridiculous, and they knew it as it was happening. So good on them for doing that. They do cap the number of drink tickets you can get in a day at either 4 or 5, which is a little bit annoying. But at the same time, I mean, we're not looking for complete and total handouts here, although if you want to give us some, we will certainly take them. It's just the ability to have fun while losing. And that's something Vegas lost the last couple of years. I think they're being forced to find it again.
So first off, let's not judge those of us with MBAs. I mean, stuff happens, but no, that's really cool. It's good to hear, because even the last time I was there, I just felt like some of these tables are brutal and just not very player friendly. No. Going down to Delta Downs, I actually think the one in here, Numero Sieste, is probably a single, at least for me. This is a horse that's won 2 in a row. Jock comes over, travels with this one, has some speed, should be able to be forwardly placed. The distance of the trip is the only question mark if this one can go this far. But the other thing I like is it's an off track tonight, and this horse does have a win on the off going, and is the Tomlinson's pick in this race, in a field that does not have a lot of form on an off track. So I thought Numero Sieste was very much the horse to beat in this spot.
So really
also,
quickly,
if you're a time form person, also
sorry, Mark, really quickly, just before odds change, if you subscribe to the profit line on Twin Spires, it has Numero Siete at 2-1, you're getting more than 3 times that price now at 7-1. And I needed to point that out before they changed.
I don't think they will.
To your point, Andrew, you were talking about the minimums. I think I'm at a point where, look, if you're spreading a $10 blackjack table and it's 6 to 5, I have no problems with that.
Right.
I understand, right? You're playing a lower limit. You gotta make your margins, right? I have a problem when like these 15 to 25. I've even seen $50 tables be 6 to 5, and it's like, come on, let's be honest here, right? Like, we're just ripping people off at this point. Look, if you're spending a $5 table and you're playing me, 6 to 5, right? I understand, completely understand. I'm playing $5, right? Like, I can't complain that much. But
they did just break at Delta, by the way.
They did, and it looks like the two bolted out to the lead, and I did not have this 2 on the lead. And yeah, the one took a ton of late money down 7-2. But I just played a 5-6 exacta straight. But I apparently am just eating all the chalk here. I thought the 5 would not be 4 to 5.
Yeah, that's crazy. That horse was 3-1 with 4 minutes to post.
Yeah, I have a 1/3/4 daily double, so need the 1 here and get my trip.
Well, the 2 appears content to come back to the field now, at least a little bit. Looks like the stride's shortening.
Yeah, might not have enough horse on this 1.
Come on, Vicente, you gotta get going. No, he's not going to get there.
You just don't want to close on this track. It's just the track hasn't been planned that way all night. So
yeah,
well,
yeah, that's what I was worried about.
Yeah, boy, and given that's a hell of a trip on the 5 too. Winds up way back, winds up wide turning for home. Looked like it totally hit a wall. If you liked the 5 here, throw that in your stable mail, because given the way this track is playing, that is not a good trip.
No, that was a terrible trip. And I mean, and Lambeau Wire's on a very speed favoring track. Cool, fine. That happens. I didn't think the horse could carry, but that just happens sometimes. But yeah, and those things happen.
Man, it's just like Vegas. Fucking Lambeau takes all my money.
It's fun to drive around in a Lambo though in Vegas. I'm just saying.
Is that what you're gonna do, Mark? When we go to Vegas for my birthday, you're gonna get a Lambo?
I can. You want me to?
That might be fun.
I've done it before.
I mean, how many people are you planning to fit in the Lambo? That's the big question.
I don't know. You know what? I say that, Andrew, and I mean, I'm a little frightened to get in the car. I think with Mark.
I didn't kill Gary in the Lambo. He rode around Vegas with me in the Lambo. He survived. And there are pictures to prove it.
All right, we got about 14 minutes to post here. Race 7 at Turfway Park. Andrew, I don't know what your time's looking like, but I'll let you go first because I know you got places to be at some point.
I just got to be at the top of the hour, so I am good through this race at Turfway, and that's a very good thing because I like a price. I think there's a lot of early speed signed on in this race, so I'm going to channel my inner Chase Sessoms and hope this sprint falls apart. And because of that, I'm going to go with number 9, Tartaria, in this spot, who is currently 12-1. First of all, I think that's way too big of a price, but if you look at the field here, you do wind up seeing some speed. And if you look at Tartaria, you see a horse that 2 starts back ran very well in the slop at Churchill, going from last to first. Last time out, something clearly wound up happening, but the big switch, I think, first time for Mr. Tom Amoss. And Amos probably could have found a lower level spot for this horse. He doesn't. He winds up running this horse for a tag of 40,000 after claiming for 20. And I see works that indicate this horse has shown some talent. Now, whether or not this horse can channel that over the Turfway Park synthetic track, I don't know. But what I do know is there's a lot of speed. I want a horse that can pass others. And if this one runs back to the race 2 back, guys, why can't she win? I see projected odds of 16-1. I will gladly take that. And Nick Sievers, my fellow Northern Californian, I hope you're right, because 16-1 is just way too big a price.
Mark?
Yeah, I do agree with Andrew that there is a lot of speed in this race, but speed has sort of been working. So, how do you balance that out when that happens? I think my top choice in here is sort of probably the speed of the speed. That's the 7 horse Arosuo. I don't know how I'm
Or
gonna
Sal?
probably
Yeah, I think it's
Arisao.
Arisal, I
Is
think.
Arisao okay? Who's a horse that probably getting back to this one's best surface. It does have a win. Broke its maiden going this. It's shown as a maiden claim, but there's 3. Okay, yeah, cool. Did break its maiden. I was making sure I was saying that right. Did break its maiden going this. Over this Turfway Park surface. And I thought that was a really nice effort. Ramos is having a good meet. And it seems as though Randy Klopp goes to Ramos with most of his good horses. A couple of prep races where this one stopped going 6. Hopefully the synthetic kind of makes the difference with this one. So I thought it. If I'm getting that sort of, it looks like I'm projected at about 5-2. I think that's kind of fair value on the horse that I think is probably your most likely winner if this one fires its best race. But this is one of those races that, and just in true transparency, I didn't have a great feel for. I think this is a race that's tough. There's a lot of ways you can go in here. So interested to see where Josh lands.
Yeah, I landed on the 11, Jill Jitterbug. And this is a horse that, if you go on time form, now granted, these are turf races, but this is a horse that's got the fastest figures, I think, in the field. You got a 115 2 back. You got a 108, going 4 back. Granted, right, we got the 3-month layoff here, 109 days off. Coming back here, but I do think, yesterday it did seem like a lot of the horses with the big turf figures came back to run pretty well. So I kind of felt like the turf form was carrying over to this Turfway form. This is a horse that's going to be kind of sitting mid pack. Has got the best, if not one of the best, late pace figures here in the field. Timeform's got this as the best late pace figure here. And then Nick Sievers even saying, "Hey, look at the optics plot on the 11." So he really, really likes the optics plot here. And going back to his previous note, right? Sprints seem to have been off the pace. So the 11 right now is sitting at 7-2, 5-1 projected odds. So I'm guessing that the double odds, maybe this is one that's going to float up a little bit. But I really like the 11 Jill Jitterbug in this spot.
I would like the 11 a lot more if this race was 2 turns, which is a bizarre thing to say because all 4 of this horse's wins have come going 1 turn. But if you look at those races 2 and 4 back, you see time form figures of 115 and 108. If Jill Jitterbug runs those figures, she's a likely winner of this race. But I'm looking at the sprint races and I see numbers that just aren't all that high. I also, while I do see 4 synthetic wins, most of those I believe came over at Presque Isle. And sometimes Presque Isle form doesn't travel. So I would need a little bit more of a price on Jill Jitterbug than the current 7-2 price that's out there. But if this one drips up to that 5-1, 6-1, 7-1 range, I completely get that. I just thought this one might be a little bit better going a little bit longer just based off of the figure in the race 2 back where she ran pretty well and ran into the likes of Viv Vuv, Proctor Street, and Mo Fox Given. Those are stakes horses. I have no idea how that's an allowance in the form because that's closer to a graded stakes race.
Yeah, no, I had a similar take to Andrew here. I think that the post draw was what really kind of turned me off. I think in these sort of one turn, sprint type races, how does this, I don't, how does this horse sort of invent a trip here? You're coming out of the 11 post with some speed. This horse is going to be kind of end up being like four wide around the turn, right? Like, and I just think that that ground loss is a major factor in here. I agree with you. If this was a two-turn race, I think the jock would be able to kind of settle, have a little bit more time, have a little bit more track to sort of invent a better trip. I just think the post is a really tough one here. So I tend to agree with you, Andrew. But I do have the horse written down as a B. So and we know how my Bs normally fare.
All right. I'm gonna fire at this 11 here a little bit. I'm gonna put a little win bet in here.
So, while Josh is firing away, Andrew, did you give these apples, the rail horse, any sort of a look in here? Because this is another one of these horses. We talk about these horses that like the surface, and this is a horse that's 3 for 8 at Turfway, so clearly handles the surface. Another one that I don't know if this is the right trip, but at least it seems like this horse. I guess all three of the lifetime wins have come here. Um, Probably the right surface. Is this one that has some dirted up form and you get a little bit of a price? I guess you're only projected at 3 to 1. I'd hope that this one would drift or be close to that morning line, I guess.
So first of all, they misnamed the horse because they should have named the horse Them Apples.
Them
And
apples.
every talking head throughout this horse's career could
Wouldn't
say,
shut up.
"How do you like them apples?" Just throwing that out there, guys. If we could call the Jockey Club and like do the whole renaming thing that we've done with some horses in the past, that'd be great. But yeah, I like the horse underneath. I do like the fact that it seems pretty clear these connections were waiting for Turfway. And I'm not overly crazy about taking a horse that dropped all the way down to 12.5 last time at Saratoga and didn't run a jump. I'm not overly crazy about a horse that has a little bit of early speed, but probably wants to be in that first flight just off him, being on the rail. There's just a lot that has to go right for closers on the rail. But hey, we saw that in the last race at Turfway, and that didn't seem to be a problem. I'm using these apples underneath. I played small exactas, keying the 9, my top pick, with the 1 and the 2 numbers that are driving the world crazy at the moment. 6, 7. Yes, folks, we're trendy. We'll take a look at the 6 here first, and this is a horse that I think the morning
Where did
line
you
was
find
just
this guy?
wrong on. They found me at Aqueduct on an April day in 2023, where I invited the winner of the feature to my wedding a couple of years later. So yeah, the 6, Frankel Baby, was 30 to 1 on the morning line. That was never going to happen. This horse is 12 to 1 now. I thought the races at Hawthorne on turf were pretty good. Obviously, you're never quite sure how turf form is going to go to synthetic. Sometimes it winds up working out okay. Sometimes it doesn't wind up working out okay. But at a big price, I'll pay to find out. I do think there's some early speed in here, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if Frankel Baby went early and held on for a piece of it. The other one I'm using is the 7 for largely the same reasons that have been outlined. Ran into a pretty nice horse in each of the last 2 starts over at Horseshoe Indianapolis. 1 for 1 here at Turfway, though that was in a maiden claimer for a $15,000 tag. Didn't beat a whole heck of a lot, but I certainly understand why that one's taking money. My stronger opinion is that Tartaria has the ability to come rolling late at a price. If that one winds up winning, it's a very good night for yours truly. If that one winds up running second behind one of the 3 horses I've got, it's still a pretty good night.
Anything else on this race, Mark?
I don't think so. Again, you're getting that field size, which is a great thing about Turfway. So there's some value to be had here. But another one of these tough Turfway races. I think my best sort of press play starts in the next race. So I was debating trying to press into a price I liked or press out of a price. I think I'm gonna take the other option and press out. So, but we might lose Andrew by that time, which sucks. That's no fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got date night over at about 6:30, so I'm out at the top of the hour. But on the plus side, I was able to hop on at all. My bowling league is in a hiatus as they renovate the bowling alley that I wind up going to every Thursday night. So yeah, that's why I'm able to be here. That has fixated, by the way, several of our friends that are prominent members of the Twitter Spaces on Thursday nights, which I don't know why that's so interesting to some people. I don't know why they're trying to do a Pablo Torre finds out on my bowling hobby, but they are. So, let them. But yeah, I'm actually on a road trip to a city in Nevada that is named for what it needs tomorrow afternoon. I will be spending the night in Reno. So, yeah, because on Saturday they're having a tournament for NorCal bowlers at the National Bowling Stadium, which is a really cool place. The Bowling Hall of Fame is in that building, so I get to wave at a picture of Dave Ferraro, who ran the bowling alley where I grew up, and I get to flip off a picture of Marshall Holman and send it to my father, because when I was very young, my dad almost got in a fight with Marshall Holman at a pro-am. He actually uttered the line, "You've got a lot of class and it's all low."
Ooh, that's a good line.
Yeah,
That's
5 minutes with my
well
dad, and I
played.
make a lot more sense, people.
Well played. I love your dad. Your dad's wonderful. He's a
He's a
great
great
dude.
guy. I'm still aching for what happened on Sunday for him. It was that
That's
that was
rough.
that was bad. Like, there are some stewards' decisions where you could take or leave, and you could wind up seeing the logic involved. And even if you disagree with the call, you can understand why it was made. The more I look at that race, the less I understand it. And
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
wind up on Twitter, it's very rare that pretty much everybody agrees on
Kind of
anything.
agrees. Yeah.
Yeah, just ugh. Rough stuff all around. Though I will say, and I mentioned this, that FanDuel TV did interviews with the stewards. That's a good move by them, because even if you don't agree with the stewards and you think they're full of crap like I did, at the very least, there's some element of transparency there that wasn't there a couple of years ago. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think that those interviews with the stewards are always good things where you can kind of get a why did they make the call that they did? Like, I don't understand. The problem is when they do those interviews and then you still don't understand why the call was made. Those are the frustrating ones. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, we've all had those bad steward beats. So you know, I, I feel for him. I feel for him, and especially in a guy who's not a huge player. He's somebody who a lot of small ball, a lot of sharp tickets. That's a frustrating one.
Yeah, it was a $36 ticket. Brutal. And I think we might have lost Mark because his face is frozen in a very peculiar spot there.
Yeah,
If, we
my
could,
camera decided
I
to
think
if
that's just
freeze.
how
someone
he
could
looks
screenshot
normally.
that for me, please,
Yes.
that'd be great.
That's just how he looks normally.
Yeah, okay.
And we're loading into the gate here at Turfway Park. I'm on the 11 here. Nick Severs, I saw him. He's got a double to the 1 and the 11. The one's at 3-1 currently. The 11's at sitting at 5-1. Andrew, who did you like here again?
I went with the 9, who is 19-1 at the moment. And again, I don't know if the synthetic is going to be what this horse wants, but just looking at the race shape, looking at first time Tom Amoss, you're telling me this horse should be bigger than 10-1? I'll gladly take this price.
And then Frozen Mark.
I was on the 7 here.
Okay, 3-1. And we got a couple more to load. Looks like the 6 and the 11 are the last to load here.
I mean, you shouldn't even need to ask Josh. Of course, I'm on the chalk.
Well, actually, the 1 is the chalk at 3-1. The 7's 4-1. You're on the co-second choice. Oh, now 3-1. Yep, you're on the chalk.
Like, once again, my feed's a little ahead of yours.
And they're
Yep.
off, yeah.
If you get to watch delayed reaction Andrew with a 19-1 shot.
The 6, 7, and 10 all go out to the lead there, and they're sitting. It looks like they're going fast, but we'll see. We'll see what the fractions say here. What do we got? 21 and 2.
Perfect.
The
The
11, I
9 may
think, is a
well
little
not be
bit.
good enough, but I'm getting the trip.
Yeah, the 11's much more forward than I thought he would be, or thought they would be, but we'll see. It looks like this 4 looks pretty good, actually. Wow, the 7 might be gone.
Do you have horse on this 9? You got a long way to go from there.
Congrats,
But you
Mark.
can't tell anything as they're turning for home.
Ooh, I got my chalk home.
Mark with the 5-2 gets the 5-2 home. Interesting.
And the 9 was about a zillion wide turning for home. Are we going to get up for? Nope, not going to get up for 4th, I don't think.
No, and it didn't look like many people were making up any ground there.
No, not at all whatsoever. Which, I mean, they went 109 and 2.
The one made up some ground. The one ended up going off at 9-5, Mark. So you got 5-2. You actually had the second choice, not the chalk.
Ooh, wow. Well, good
So
for me.
congrats there.
Meanwhile, I got the trip I wanted with the 9 and actually wound up running 4th or 5th there. Not terrible, but you turn for home and you're going a zillion wide. That's not often the trip that you want, but
it's not the winning move, right?
No complaints. I mean, that horse wound up going off at 29-1 and wound up more than outrunning the odds. Hi, Sarah Al-Badwi. How you doing?
We all love Sarah. Sarah's the best.
How can you not love Sarah? Sarah's great.
She's just a wonderful person. So
you're not kidding at all. Guys, on that note, I do need to head out. I've got somebody waiting for me at a restaurant here in Oakland, so I must bid you all adieu. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody in the comments. Hope you all wind up having a great night, and I will speak to you all later. Have a good one.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right. Well, we got about 8 minutes to post here at Delta. Mark, any thoughts here on this last race?
Let me pull the race up, so I can actually talk. I don't know. Not been my best Delta night, but no, I wanted some of maiden 5 here. Clearly, this is not the best group of horses. I landed on the 3 and the 4 here. With the 4 with Houston's Eagle, who is your second choice at the moment. Shipping in from Evangeline, gets the trainer change. Trainer who's pretty high percentage, putting Vicente up, and fairly high percentage. First with the new horses. This one's been off for quite a while. Not a horse that I'm super high conviction about or anything, but I think it is a logical player in here. Another horse who's probably my top choice is the 3. Horse that ships enough fairgrounds off a tougher circuit. You're getting the surface change. You're getting a massive class drop for this one, and you're getting team money up. So, a horse, and I'll gotta say with a 3 as well, a horse that finds himself probably a little bit of pace in this one, could go to the lead potentially. And I think that would be kind of a move that I would like to see them be a little aggressive with this one, put them on the lead. A horse they paid $4,500 for, and then we're running in, $50K maiden special weights. I would imagine this is probably more the level this one should be at. So I think the 3 here might be me is probably my top choice.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at this race. I thought the 7 Fierce Cat was interesting in here. Just missed last time out. Finished second by a length and a quarter in a maiden claiming race. And I think just coming back here at this level after running second in that race, I thought that was an interesting horse. In this spot, and that's really all I liked in this race. So I think I'm just gonna have a nice little win bet here on the 7 Fierce Cat. Just basically like I said, off that last effort, look at a horse that kind of improved second off the layoff, and now we're getting third off the layoff. And we're getting the horse is 9-5 right now in the morning is live, so not getting the 4-1 in the morning line that we had there, but your 3 is sitting at 9-1 right now, actually.
Yeah, no, and I'm kind of shocked at the 3 being at that price, but here we are. And I will say that if you're somebody that plays Delta, and I do it a fair bit, the win pools are not the most accurate indicator here. Again, Josh mentioned earlier on the stream that doubles pools or pick three pools are a little sharper, and I would very much agree with that. I think especially at some place like Delta, where you have a thin win pool, there's only $1,700 in the win pool here, right? So I think like the doubles, the pick fours, those types of pools are sharper. And if you're seeing the 7 is paying 13.30 in the dollar payout in the double, the 3 is 16.20. So you're getting, I don't know, 4.5 times the price on the win pool, but only maybe 20% increase in the doubles. So the 3 is definitely an overlay given given how the win pool is right now. But of course, if I put $100 in the win pool, I'm going to completely murder the odds, which is the horrible thing with those thin win pools,
Yeah. Yeah, like the win pools are the 4 Houston's Eagle is sitting at 9-2, which I thought was I don't know, compared to some of the other horses in this race, I thought that was kind of, that seems a lot lower than I thought. The 7's back up to 5-2, which I think is probably closer to what we're gonna get at the end.
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah, I thought maybe we get 5-2, 3-1 on the 7. That's kind of where I wanted to be. But yeah. Going back over here to Turfway, we got about 20 minutes till race 8. Anything in here, Mark, that you liked?
Yeah, there is, but the board seems to be a little sharper than I had hoped that they would be. I thought the 3 Maximum Promise was a really interesting horse in here. Another one of these horses that if you go back to those 2 synthetic tries, they kind of tower over this field. A 117 in the stakes. That time form, it makes this horse an absolute major player in the spot. So I thought Maximum Promise was really interesting in here. I was hoping to get more like the 7-2 morning line, not like the projection, which is closer to 2-1. So I thought Maximum Promise was pretty interesting in here. And the other horse I think is kind of a sneaky horse, is way on the outside, and that's Ocean Atlantique, the 13. For new horse in the Joe Sharp barn. Joe Sharp is very good with first time horses in his barn. And if you look at some of the synthetic form, I thought this one was kind of didn't need a huge amount of upgrade to be a major player. 2 wins from 8 starts over funny dirt. Pedigree says this may be the preferred surface. And I thought the 13 was a pretty interesting horse for getting a I don't know. I don't want to dunk on the Canadian Jock Colony, but S1 Flores is probably an upgrade over.
Joe Ramos.
Joe Ramos is probably an upgrade over the S1 Floreses of the world, right?
Yeah, I could probably say that. Yeah, this was an interesting race. I thought even like a horse like the 8 Laszlo, for Carrie Bryan here. I thought he was interesting here as kind of I guess like an improving 3-year-old, right, against a bunch of
Yeah.
older horses. Um, and I mean the 2 is also a 3-year-old in this spot, so you probably still have maybe a little bit of improvement in the 2 in the or sorry the 3
Yeah.
Maximum Promise, but I thought the 8. I mean the 8's run as fast, if not faster, than the 3, and I think maybe you still have a little bit of room to kind of go up with the 8 Laszlo. Um, is one that's got some tactical speed, right? Has been able to win on the lead or sitting just off. So I thought the 8 here, especially with the way the track's playing, kind of being forwardly placed, I thought the 8 Laszlo at current odds of 5-1 was pretty interesting. Um, I mean, the one Sugoi, has got a humongous figure in that 123. Um, a while back, it's got a 120, a couple of 120s in here, but
What do you do with a horse like that who really has no synthetic track? I mean, we're going way back. This is an 8-year-old that hasn't won in quite a while. I guess almost a year since that last win. And it was going a mile and a half in a race that I don't think there was a lot of, I mean, Verstappen was in there, I guess, but, you know, Houston, right? Like that is not top level company. And I think if you look at the form on Segoy, this is a horse that really hasn't been the form's been off for a while. And again, as I said it earlier, I think this is the kind of horse you try to beat. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm wrong on a quite often, but yeah.
yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because this is a horse that does have some synthetic form. It's got at least, I think, 4 wins here at Turfway Park. Um, so does have some synthetic form, but granted, right, we're going back to 2024 at the very least on this horse. So you kind of got to go back in the Wayback Machine there a little bit. And I think I would take a horse like the 8 with a little bit of recency um, over a horse like the 1, especially at 3-1. I think you're getting double the price at least on the 8 right now, Laszlo. So they're loaded in the gate here at Delta. Um, I got a win bet on this 7. Currently sitting at about 3-1 on Fierce Cat. And Mark, what do you got here?
Sorry, apologies about that. Which race are we talking, Josh? The
Delta.
8 at Delta. I win bet the 3.
Okay.
Who breaks absolutely dead friggin' last.
Yeah.
Completely whiffed. Awesome.
Who's calling the race to that Delta? Is this a fill-in guy?
I don't know. I don't have the sound on normally.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely somebody filling who I have no idea
Okay.
who that is.
Yeah.
That is not. They normally have a decent like. They normally have a pretty decent, caller. That is got to be a fill-in person. Well, 5 looks again tiring a bit. I think you're on the 7, right, Josh?
Yeah, I got the 7, who's at 5-2 right now, but I think is going to need to get going. And I think on the
Gonna need to get
outside, that 6 is
going.
that 6
Well, I
saved
said
all the ground.
6 saved all the ground here. 5's going back though.
5 is coming back. Wow.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean,
Runner.
speed was good all night. So, yeah, wow. I mean, the class matters. Are we going to give it class matters here?
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there. Like that was wild.
14th time's the charm. I mean, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, Russ was on a 2 here, and that was something, man.
That was something. Yeah, I mean, nobody's been closing from off from it at Delta. So, top of the stretch, I felt like a 2-horse race, just not the horse that I expected of the 2.
Yeah.
It's also hard, like you get in this time of year where you're used to capping the Keenelands, the Saratogas, Breeders' Cup stuff, et cetera, and then suddenly you're capping substantially lesser quality animals, and you have to put that kind of a little more understanding of calamity factor in your head, right? You have to be a little bit more understanding.
Yep. No, for sure. So, Mark, I don't know. I know I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit. Did you look at Aqueduct Saturday card at all?
I have not even touched it. I probably won't. Ski season really starts this weekend, so I will be doing staff training the next 2 weekends. So I will probably be light. No, again, I would definitely take a look if there a day like today where there's a double carrier or something. I would definitely take a look. But
Gotcha, because you know what we have. You know what this weekend is, right?
is it the last Remsen at Aqueduct? Maybe.
It's not just the last Remsen. It's the last Cigar Mile, isn't it?
Oh, at the duct.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. That's still boy. Oh, geez, I can pull it up. What do we got going on here?
Yeah, we got the Cigar Mile.
Oh,
Bishop's
Last
Bay or Phileas
Demoiselle.
Fog is actually your 9 to 5 favorite in the Cigar Mile.
Jeez.
Bishop's Bay is 2 to 1. Crazy Mason at 7 to 2. Doc Sullivan at 5 to 1. You get double digits on the rest, which is Micah, Pentathlon, and Brazenly. So yeah, I
Oh, I mean,
thought
Crazy Mason does like some duck, but I think you have to wonder with Crazy Mason, is this a little further than that one really wants to go? That's a horse that historically has been more of a 7 furlong, 6.5 furlong type of horse. So, lots of things to like there. Interesting to see a rad hopping up on that one. And then you have Phileas Fogg. I would I guess Phileas Fogg is the morning line favorite. Crazy Mason's second choice, so I apologize if I said that wrong. But Phileas Fogg on the cutback. So some interesting race. Get Bishop's Bay in there as well. Yeah, I don't know where I would land in that spot. Again, I haven't taken a deep dive into this one yet. Yeah, uh, it's hard. It used to be these end of the season races. You get horses bouncing back off the Breeders' Cup, and they would hop in here, and that's not a thing that you see anymore. This tends to be sort of the C tier of they couldn't find a Breeders' Cup spot for you, and they want to get one more race in for the end of the year, so you land in one of these spots. Um, I have a soft spot for Phileas Fogg. I think he's probably a deserving favorite in here, and would not be a shock as a winner. A shock winning, he probably would end up with kind of my lone A type, and maybe I'd use somebody like Bishop's Bay as a B. I probably don't need anybody else in this field. I don't think.
yeah, I kind of looked at this and I try to make a case for this one Doc Sullivan,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I think this is a horse that performs much better on an off track. So we'll have to kind of see what track comes up tomorrow. I think if it does come up off, I think Doc Sullivan makes a ton of sense. But I don't know. I think Philly's Fog looks pretty tough in here.
well,
Looks to be the speed in here, but
I think also Phileas Fogg's up against it, just given the fact that Caleb loves to dunk on me about this. When you see these New York breds that end up versus open company, even if they're a good New York bred, it's a big challenge. It's a big jump, and that's a real class test. And I think Doc Sullivan's really up against it. Now that there's a price where he makes some sense in this spot, I just don't think you're going to get that price. This is a real tough spot for him.
yeah. And then you had I think you got three other stakes races. You got the Remsen right before that, where I think this is we're starting to kind of creep into Derby season almost a little bit,
Dude, we really are.
and I your morning line favorite in this race is the two Paladin, who I'm pretty sure Matthew DeSantis I think has got a future wager on Paladin, if I
I
remember
think he does.
correctly.
I think that sounds right. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
he's really big on Paladin here. Paladin is 3 to 1 in here. You get 9 to 2 on courting, 5 to 1 on talking, and then 5 to 1 on renegade, 6 to 1 igniter. And I think you get double digits on the rest. Were there any horses in here that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, there were, and I think it's what do you do with Paladin? I mean, I realize normally that jump from debut race to second time out, it tends to be a big improvement angle for horses. But Paladin's a maiden. Renegade beat Paladin last time out, but Paladin's going to be the favorite in this race. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I thought Renegade was really interesting in this spot. For Todd, it gets a rat up. I don't know if this is. I don't know. I don't really know how Todd thinks or what Todd thinks of his flock of 2-year-olds at this point in time. But then you also run into the fact that you have somebody like Talkin, the 11 for Danny Gargan, who, if you're a time form truther, Talkin is your horse in here. Well, I think Igniter as well. You have both of them who have bigger time forms. So I think for me right now, I'm interested in Renegade. I think that's a horse that kind of figured it out last time out. They tried to debut this one at Saratoga. It looked like that one needed a race coming out of the Saratoga race. Took a big step forward in that Aqueduct race. Can kind of sit the trip, sits from just off the pace, has enough tactical early to sit a nice trip, but should be kind of able to stalk the pace. So I thought Renegade was the most interesting, but there's a lot of ways you could go here. I thought somebody like an Igniter last out. That horse, threw a big fig. Somebody like Talkin, the 11. A horse that ran a really huge, second in the Champagne, and that debut race was nice. So lots of horses in here I think you could go with. Really fun little race. These early Derby preps are hard because these horses are going to take big steps forward, and it's always hard to know what you have.
Yeah, I was kind of looking through this race, and I kind of agree with you, right? Paladin obviously makes a ton of sense, but I don't want to take 3-1 on a horse that hasn't won a race yet. Honestly, the 3 horse I did kind of was a little interesting.
Agreed.
Is a horse that obviously broke its maiden on him in a slop race, came back and ran fine in the street sense, right? Grade 3 race there, and is coming back here. I thought this is a horse that's got a little bit of experience. I thought one that could maybe surprise a little bit. Igniter, which is one that you talked about a little bit. I love to see. This is a horse that ran a 111 here, going this exact trip here at Aqueduct. So Manny Franco stays aboard, and normally I'm like, okay, like Manny Franco aboard, like that's not really an improvement, but at Aqueduct, he knows how to ride an Aqueduct. So I thought Igniter was interesting here. The 11 Talkin was one I'm maybe not as high on, but
no mooch love. You are like the biggest mooch simp I've ever met.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, he ran really well that last race out at Duct. Now, I don't know if it was because of the fast pace in front of him, if that kind of like made the figure look a little bit better. But he was an interesting one. And then I think the 10 Balboa is probably the other one. You get Ricky Gogo Santana aboard, and you kind of look at this horse, right? And now in Brittany Russell's barn for the second time, but you look at this horse. This is a horse that was in Bob Baffert's barn, and got the likes of JJ Hernandez to ride, Umberto Rispoli, Kazushi Kimura, right? So
Was this one actually in Baffert's barn?
Was
actually in Brittany Russell's barn.
I mean, this is the second start in Brittany's barn. Won a stakes race at Laurel last time out. But now it's coming back here, and Brittany did probably the best thing for this horse and got someone other than Sheldon Russell to ride. So
which is an odd thing to say coming.
I mean, look at dude, we've all seen the rides on Post Time, right?
We have, but she is married to him, so
that's true.
Minor, it's how I mean, like you kind of wonder how the dinner time conversations go. Like, sorry, honey, I'm going to take you off and put a real jock on. Like, it's just it feels rough.
Look, I need someone not to go 7 wide here. I just need someone not to go 7 wide. Nick Seaver saying this is a good race. Not sure it'll be Derby horses, but it's promising. I think this is fun. It's actually a fun betting race. I think you can go a couple different ways. I mean, if Paladin wins, it's the most boring possible way that this ends. I think the 7, the 11, and the 10 make a bit of sense here. So, I'll maybe try a couple of exactas or something. I'll take a look, see if Naira's got any fun promos or whatever for that race. But Aqueduct's got a pretty decent card. Obviously, they're to all dirt. Um, and this is the last cigar mile that they're going to run at Aqueduct. So I think it'll be a fun little card to kind of take a look at. So
One other horse, real quick, Josh, and you don't have to the form, it's fine. Johnny V was up on Renegade, who we both talked about. He's up on Courting, who he also
mhm.
won last out on. You kind of wonder, is Courting also a player in this spot, given the fact that, I would assume Johnny V had choice. He was on both of them last out, and he ends up on the 6 in there. So, it's a fun little race, for this time of year.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Turfway. We've got 2 minutes to post here, and I'm putting a win bet on this 8, and I'm gonna look ahead at race 9 here, and I think I'm gonna do a little bit of an 8-7 double here. So I'm gonna go with the 2 speeds, or I'm gonna double into the speed in the next race here. So I got a 8-7 double here. I'm gonna play that for $10 and see if we can get live to this. What at least what time form's got as the speed. It doesn't look like there's been much speed with any of the horses that have any runs. The 7 has shown some speed here um, in their 2 tries, so I'm gonna go with that. Nick's saying just play the long prices. Hey, I'm gonna play the speed. I'm gonna see if we get there with that. What do you got here, Mark, in race 8?
Played a double. I'm gonna try to. In race 8, yeah. So I had mentioned the 3 before, and I also mentioned the 13 Ocean Atlantique. I'm gonna try to double out of this race into the race 9. I'm gonna spread a little in race 9. I went 1, 4, 5, and 7. So I am 313 over 1, 4, 5, 7. Hopefully, I can find one of those prices in the last leg. Kind of to Nick Severs' point, I'll kind of spray away and try to find one of those prices. Hopefully, I can get out of the hard leg first. So,
All right,
and this 13 would be very nice.
yeah, 8-1. You're getting 8-1 in the 13. I'm getting 8-1 on my 8 here. So if either of us are right in here, I think we're gonna be sitting pretty in the next race. So
Yeah.
as they're walking to the gate here. Once again, thank you guys for checking us out here on The Wrong Lead. Make sure you like and subscribe, hit all the buttons. We're in the next couple of weeks. I know Caleb's been traveling a lot for work, and it's kind of the doldrums of racing, right? But we want to get
Yeah.
some content out for you guys. So obviously, we usually try and get drinking champagne out Wednesday night and Thursday. You've got to be shot tending me out Friday night into Saturday, and then we usually try and stream on Thursday nights for these. We'll cover the Saturday races, and as Derby season kind of kicks up, we'll be doing more. We'll be a little bit more consistent. But thank you guys for tuning in. And they're loading to the gate here. Yeah, it looks like we're still. I mean, the 8 and the 13 are still sitting at 8-1. The 3 has gotten bet down very, very heavily down to 9-5 here. So slow and steadied. Mr. Matt Carlson, he's on the 10. He's hoping for a soft lead here on the 10. 22-1 there.
He's on the 10.
Yeah.
That's a choice.
Yeah, it sounds like me when we're handicapping Hong Kong. I'm like, you're on who?
Who? What?
All right. And they're off.
Well, I mean, the one nice thing about him being on a price is that horse can't beat you. So.
Till it does.
Until it does, yeah.
All right, Sugoi is out to the lead.
Well, it's kind of expected, right?
My 8 is going 3 wide, which I don't love, but
I mean, it's Turfway. Ground loss doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, the one's gonna do it all on his own there out there.
They're letting us one kind of cruise here, so now he's
Yep.
eventually hopefully gonna remember he's 8, but
Yep, 23 and 4. The 3 is down to 4 to 5.
which is absurd. Off a 7-2 morning line.
Yeah.
Craziness. Craziness.
I kind of like where this 5 is sitting.
This 5 is sitting a trip. You're not wrong.
I hate where my 8 is at right now. He's just like 3 wide, and he's just been scrubbing, I feel like, the whole time. I think I'm cooked. He's asking right now, and here comes
hey,
the
Josh.
10,
No, you see who's on the outside?
the 13. 13's good enough. I think he's got it.
Yep. If he's good enough, and we're pinballing. And maybe he's not good enough.
Oh no, where's that 9? That 9 came out of
That
nowhere.
9. Where did that 9 come from? Oh, the 5 gonna
no,
hold.
Yep, the five's gonna hold on.
Dude, nice call on the backstretch there. You're like, oh, this 5 looks really
I
good.
told you the 5 looked like he was just sitting chilly the whole time, just sitting second off. Man, unreal.
Vicky Oliver.
Man,
That's that to me. That's a hard horse to get to, and this is what kills me. Like, I've never been a Turfway person because I have such a hard time figuring, okay, which of these turf horses will translate to synthetic. To me, it's just hard. It's really, really hard.
yeah, I didn't see that this horse was going to be so close to the lead.
I mean, it's a lot of class relief, but like, that's just a horse that I find very, very, very tough to get to.
Yeah, and I think that was the difference for the horse here, right? Is I think that this horse, right, sat close to the lead and was able to save a little bit of ground, right? Was sitting in the 2 path.
Yeah.
And, like a horse like my 8, who I thought was going to sit a similar trip, decided to go 3 wide the entire way. And I think, horse just ended up tiring out. So, yeah.
I mean, little softer company, and therefore able to sit more forwardly placed, and kind of sits that and trips out. Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. So,
Yep. All right, Mark. I think that's going to do it for us here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, check us out at ontherwronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. I am at Cherry Drank. Mark is at 2 Turns. Caleb's at Caleb WVU if he ever decides to show back
if you
up.
ever goes up again, yeah.
We'll see. But thank you guys for tuning in. Obviously, we will, as the racing picks up, we'll be a little bit more steady here with the usual streams. But yeah, we'll catch you guys later, and hopefully we make some money this weekend. Have a good weekend, guys.